Now I gotta know, because what is going on with this company? Because what do you mean that wrestlers gotta accept 50% pay cut or they get booted, and then y'all go ahead and release people, and then a New Day walking out after Xavier and Kofi has been there for what, almost 20 years? What do you mean that WrestleMania is getting all these advertisements? We barely had any time for matches, video packages, and all of that. And celebrities getting a main event spot over the women who haven't main evented WrestleMania in 5 years. Commercials, 1,000, a billion. How many you want to exaggerate on the course of all these PLEs? And not only that, TKO is pretty much responsible for majority of that, and Triple H becoming a lapdog at this point. What we doing? That company is about to go down. I only been away for what, 3 weeks? Listen, look, I like some of Travis Scott's songs, but what the f does he know about a WrestleMania main event? Hi everyone, my name is Rita. Welcome back to my Scandal. If you are new here, I am a women's wrestling advocate, okay? But, you know, I love wrestling all around, okay? So if you're new here, I talk about the men sometimes. I mostly talk about the women. But this video, we talk about all of it of WWE as an entirety of what's going on right now. So, yeah, this is Scandalous Opinions. This is a big version of it. Just mention all my opinions I have formed in my head during the past 3 weeks. Because during these past 3 weeks, I've been busy getting my associates and arts degree. Clap it up for me. Yes, it was hell. But I did that. Yeah, you see that? I look good, girl. Oh. But now we back to business. And this business is going down to the pits of hell. The darkest pits of hell. The fiery pits of hell. What is happening? Okay, so my assistant here, Miss Galaxy, okay, this is what she called because, you know, she is Samsung. So, okay, she's my assistant today, so, because I got a lot to say. And it has to do not only with just WrestleMania, but just like I said, landscape as a whole. So, let's get right into these opinions. First of all, WrestleMania sucks now. Sucks ass out of a straw, like I say. You know, because I used to love WrestleMania, right? That's our Super Bowl, okay, for wrestling. And since last year, I felt a decrease. Ever since that Mania. First of all, on paper, you look at the matches. It's a good lineup. You know, a promising lineup. And my reaction video, it was crazy. I was going ham. You know, it was exciting. We had great matches. You know, it was going good, right? Until we get to that main event of night 2. To end the weekend of WrestleMania. Okay, we had Cody versus John Cena. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. On one side, we have a babyface that's pretty much getting the torch. You know, ever since WrestleMania 40, you know, he's the chosen one, the new chosen one, right? And on the other side, we had the former chosen one. Franchise player, greatest of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's John Cena. And he had this massive, amazing, show-stopping, never seen before heel turn at Elimination Chamber that year, right? You know, went viral. People been waiting on him to turn heel. And, you know, since it's his last run, we expected greatness, right? Involving The Rock and Travis Scott. And just hold that down. Okay, so boom. We at WrestleMania, right? After that amazing moment, heel turn. You know, and before we get to the match, you know, looking at the build, it was Because, like, this direction with John's heel turn, it was basically like, you know, dissing the fans. Y'all never believed in me. Y'all always wanted me to turn heel. I'm going to ruin wrestling. None of this and none of that. Like, that direction. And thinking about it, it was an okay approach to go with it. But, like, yeah, to his point, you know, fans have been booing him, you know, half of his career because of, you know, the Super Cena era. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really grow up watching it, but, you know, I was aware of it. You know, because, like, before I officially got into it in 2015, I know John Cena. I've seen him everywhere. You know, I've seen him in the Fred movie and Free Pep, like that stuff. Like, that's how I knew of him before I got into wrestling fully. So, you know, people been booing him when in that era. You know what I'm saying? So, like, basically the purpose of his heel turn, right? But within that moment, you know, The Rock, in the moment of the heel turn, The Rock wanted Cody to sell his soul. So that was John turning on, you know, Cody, him turning heel, indicated that he sold his soul to The Rock. But throughout the storyline, The Rock was nowhere to be found anymore. The Rock was nowhere to be found, and it was just John Cena bashing the fans most of the time. So, given that, plus, you know, just adding Cody, it was just like, what is really the purpose here? You know, but I mean, it was still good to see him heal, right? Until we get to Mania. The match is going good for the most part. Cause to me, it just kind of felt gradual, like just a coast. There's like a little ups and a little downs, you know, within the match. Until we get to the end. Both Cena and Cody, I think they are down. I think, like, John is, like, slowly getting back up. Then as John is slowly getting back up, right, we hear the beginning of Rising of Fiend, right? And then guess who comes out? Travis Scott. Coming out with this replica WWE title, rubbing it, and just slowly getting to the ring. Listen, look, I like some of Travis Scott's songs, but what the does he know about a WrestleMania main event? What is he doing there? What is he doing there? What was he doing at EC? And what was he doing at Mania? This made entirely no sense. Like, yes, Travis Scott was, you know, his song was used for Mania. Right? So it was only fitting for him to, you know, appear. You know what I'm saying? You know, unlike The Weeknd, who had his songs used for 6 years straight and has yet appeared. Abel, when I catch you. But it's just like, if he was the host, you know, I would get his involvement. Right? But he wasn't a host. Neither. He was just, you know, the artist of the theme song for Mania. But he inserted himself into the main event of WrestleMania. Here's my thing. We know that celebrities be inserted into WrestleMania. We've seen it like literally every WrestleMania. So it's not like it's unexpected, you know, because, you know, WrestleMania is big and has a lot of fans, and some celebrities are fans of wrestling, right? Okay. But they be having tag matches, mixed tags. They was mostly involved in tag matches. Small cameos throughout the night. Not the main events. That's where the problem lies. And him slowly getting to that ring really was the slow burn to a disaster. To a dumpster fire disaster. And that's where it officially started. That was just the glimpse of what we was going to get this year. Now we get to this year. Right. That slow burn. That walk to the dumpster fire. Yeah. It was more than that. I don't know what's bigger than a dumpster fire. a skyscraper burning down. That's how this was this year. Okay, so boom. It's getting hot. Because I'm getting heated about this. I'm getting heated, bro. Like, no doubt. Okay, so fast forward to this year. Right. We have Cody versus Randy for main event night 1. Randy won the Elimination Chamber match. And as expected, unfortunately, they get the main event over the Women's Royal Rumble winner. We'll get back into that again. But, yeah, so boom. Randy, Cody. This is nearly 20 years of history. It's self-written. The writing is on the wall. It's right there in your face. What is so hard to write about them when the history is all there? All you have to do is recite the history and where they are right now. That first segment between them, the contract signing, Randy beat Cody to a bloody pulp. That right there, it was amping up to be a main event caliber match, right? With the intensity, the aggression from Randy. He wants his 14th, 15 championship. He's desperate for it. His time is running out. You know, and Cody is pressuring him to be that Viper, to be the vicious Randy that everybody loved, you know, and got him to where he is right now. You know, he was pushing for that. Then he got what he wanted. That should have been the driving point for this storyline. And so within the next week, Randy is on the phone. You know, he having a voice in his head, telling him to let the other voices in his head take control. It was a cute little, you know, insertment. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, have somebody encourage him. But he's Randy Orton. Why does he need to be encouraged to let the voices speak? Let the voices take control of him. Why does he need that guidance? So, everybody brainstorming, right? Everybody bringing up Ted DiBiase Jr., you know, because he was involved in Legacy with Cody and Randy. He's a part of the history, you know? And he ain't got no more legal issues. So, you know, it could have worked out for him. Or, you know, I've seen some people saying Randy's father. You know, it would kind of make sense too, because, you know, it would probably be like a little insertion of, you know, Cody's father, Dusty, like bringing him in, you know, like Randy insulting him, and, you know, because he's also, you know, a part of that feud too, because he's also inserting that history too. So Randy bringing in his father, you know, and basically like, you know, talking like something like my father's here or whatever. Y'all know how they get with dead relatives. So just throw that out there. You know, his father encouraging him to let the voices speak. You know, it would make sense for him, for that to be him too. Right? And like Cody like get revenge and he attacks his father. You know, because Brady had that match with Dusty. I think that was his last match ever. You know, so it would have made sense if like Cody like, you know, got into a little debacle with his father. You know, and starting that, right? No. So it's neither Randy's father or Ted DiBiase, who was in the crowd at WrestleMania. Like, he could have been inserted, but no. Not even, you know, Matt Cardona, because, you know, Randy attacked him. And, you know, Matt is pretty much like, kind of like Cody. They kind of have like the same story, you know, both released, been with the company for a long time, you know what I'm saying? Like, coming back, revamping, being main event worthy, you know what I'm saying? He was that with TNA, but, you know, trying to be that again in WWE. And maybe he grows jealous of Cody and helps Randy out, take Cody down, you know? But no, what we get is Pat McAfee. Yeah, I'm using that too. Shoot, following right in my uncle's footsteps. I'm calling him that too. Because it's just, he's a commentator. The last time he was on TV, he got beat down and choked out by Gunther. Which I don't understand why that match even happened either. I mean, you know, to make, you know, Gunther this monstrous heel and taking out a commentator. Okay, cool. Fine. Whatever. But that was his last time on TV. How does that correlate to Randy Orton? How does he correlate in any of the history that Cody and Randy have had within 2 decades? Man made his first appearance in WWE programming in 2020, going against Adam Cole. Having a feud against Adam Cole. He is a former football player and runs a podcast. How does he have any correlation to them whatsoever, into the storyline whatsoever? Why was he used? And then not only that, Cody had to have somebody to fight that man off. And guess who it was? Jelly Roll. Who are these niggas? It's just like, as much as I get on Triple H's ass with his big nose, having ass, this was all TKO's doing. Both of their insertments was all TKO. Triple H, you letting them have you by the balls. Man up! What is that? Because you be doing some foolishness, but you letting them insert their own foolishness mixed with your own? This was a disaster. I'm so glad that I did not receive the news when it was happening that night. Because I don't even watch SmackDown like that. You know, I keep up. But I wasn't keeping up on the media that night. And if I was, I would have been up all night cussing. Screaming. What was that? Y'all gonna have that for the main event instead of Liv and Stephanie? 10 years from now, people are gonna look back at this storyline and be like, that was the dumbest shit ever. Now it's gonna be a permanent stain on their history for a cheap ass reaction, for a money grab, a cash grab with their greedy asses. I know WWE been greedy. They be greedy for years. But TKO, they on a whole nother level of greed. A whole nother level. And this just shows it. This just proves it. And this is not benefiting anybody. Not even Matt. Pat, like, it was this video. I'm going to put it up right here. Pretty much giving insight on why Pat was inserted. With his agent, you know, the agent that Punk was talking about. He's responsible of this. And he's within the TKO realm, within the business, within the company. So, him being Pat's agent got him inserted into this because Pat is doing other ventures like acting and whatnot, and putting his personality, his big personality onto WrestleMania was fitting. I'm not going to give him any credit, but Pat is very enthusiastic human. I'll say that. He's very peculiar. Character, okay? Like, before I even knew all the other things, like his transphobia and, you know, that red side. You know, I liked his personality. He was very enthusiastic, you know. A very extraordinary character, I'll say the least. So, it's just like, I get it. But in the main event of WrestleMania with nearly 20 years of history, does not need that personality. Doesn't need that figure that has no correlation to the storyline whatsoever. So, this is not benefiting. Yeah, pretty much him going out to be acting and basically like the crossover with The Rock, you know, John Batista has done between wrestling and then crossing over to acting. That, but with Pat, He doesn't have that experience as much as they did in wrestling. So him doing this to cross over to acting to get that appeal, that's the benefit for him. But what about WWE? No, this is only just turning the fans away. And that main event wasn't just the only thing that was screwed that night. The entire show was. The entire show. Night 2, it was fine. It was okay. It was better than night 1. It was way better than night 1. Because, Lord have mercy. First of all, these ass, bum ass, dumbass, hawkified ass commercials. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that it was nearly 38 minutes as a collective whole of these commercials that night. Out of a 2-hour, 45-minute match on average. And what the worst part is, those commercials canceled out the video packages that they show for the storylines. This is WrestleMania. You have to have those. Because not only you have, the core fandom, the core audience watching, you also have casuals and new people watching WrestleMania. How are they supposed to know what is going on? Why this match is on the show if you don't have those packages? Nobody is watching the pre-shows. Let's be honest. The pre-show haven't pre-show since they canceled out the matches. Since they don't have no matches on the card no more. On that show no more. Nobody is watching for real. So everybody is not going to see the packages on there that pretty much they show on the pre-show now. Nobody is watching that hardly. So how is everybody supposed to know what is going on? Who casually watch, who don't watch at all, are supposed to know what's going on in these storylines if y'all don't have that. And I feel bad for the people who are in the crowd. Because now what they show for us on TV, the crowd has to see in the arena. They see nothing but commercials at this point during the breaks between the matches. Taking up half the damn show. Barely have any time for matches. Especially with all of those logos in the ring, on the mat. Y'all need that much? And then some on the ring mat? And that bum ass blimp that was flying around. Like, can we please go back to only Snickers being the one to sponsor WrestleMania? I would much rather that. Let's go back to that. Y'all was doing just fine with only just Snickers. And maybe like just one other, sponsorship. Now let's get into these matches. Because when I tell you I can just sneeze and the match will be over. Because I was already like 5 minutes, 10 minutes late, turning it on. So I go turn on the TV, right? I go use the restroom real quick. Use the restroom, come back out, get my snack. I sit down, the bell rings. And that was that first, match, right? We got Usos, LA Knight versus Speed and Division. I sat down, I'm like, ding, 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 what? I was over. And it came out to 7 minutes. I'm like, okay, you got celebrities inserted. You know what I'm saying? A 7-minute match for them? Okay, fine, whatever. Whatever, right? And then, and only then, all of the matches as a whole, besides the main events, were 15 minutes and under. Tops. Don't get me started with the women. Don't get me started with the women. 10 and below. 10 and below. And who got that 10-minute match? Rhea and Jay got that 10 minutes. And you know what the actual main event of night 1 was supposed to be? Liv versus Stephanie? They got 7 minutes. And that ending was so anticlimactic. Literally the entire show was. But mainly that one, that was the best storyline going into it. high intensity between the two. You can feel it through the screen. You can feel it. Look at Liv's face. Like, that literally tells the story right there. She literally entered in showing the bruises. And you mean tell me they got 7 minutes? And listen, I understand, because of the bruising, Liv, her, and Roxanne got a concussion. And also getting word that Stephanie was working with an injury. I can get, they may have to cut some things out for their match, and they maybe had to, slow down the hard-hitting impacts that they probably wanted to do. I understand that. But you give them 7 minutes? Only just for it all to fall flat and a Judgment Day come in with all the chaos any damn way, when the whole storyline was that Liv can't do anything on her own pretty much. That's what was Stephanie's argument against Liv was. And I understand she's a heel and she's going to continue to do heel things. But this was supposed to be one-on-one. Let's be all the way for real. And this is when the break should have happened. They're doing all the celebration. Dominic there. Have the whole crew. JD, Raquel, Roxanne. The turn should have happened then and there. Not this whole, Roxanne being belittled and all that stuff now against the whole group. Like, no. As much as I wanted to go into the direction I wanted it to go, where it was Dominic and Liv having to go against all of them, it's out of the window now. But the turn should have happened with Raquel, Roxanne, JD, them kicking Dominic and Liv out that night. And Raquel holding up the championship. She wants the championship. But then down the line, they will have tension between Roxanne and her. We'll get into that some other time. But yeah, that really upset me. Like the Divas era, this entire show was a bathroom break. Bathroom breaks. Full of them. It's sad. It was sad for them. It's sad to have it for the entire show. It's just unfair. You know what I'm saying? Like, they deserve that main event. They deserve a longer match. They do not need to be working under 10 minutes. You can barely even get emotionally invested anymore. Because there's not even any time to have any climax to the match. Where it's all hyped, all these near falls and all that stuff. We didn't get that. For the Women's World Championship, this entire show was cool. The only good part for me, truthfully, that I really felt good about was Paige's return. But even then, I don't want to say that, like, her payoff for it, like, what we seeing now it's kind of a little flat to me. A little tiny bit, not too much. Tiny bit. But, yeah, other than that, what was this show? What was this night? You can blink and the match was over. I don't even care if I was just, mad with some of the outcomes. I would at least be like, well, at least that was a good match, right? At least you felt good. No. Not at all. Even night 2 felt quick. Even though they had the longer matches. Sure. I felt a little bit better, but not too much. Not entirely too much. No. Because following off after that night 1 main event, you going into night 2 be like, what they gonna do now? I mean, it was better, like I said, but not as much. With all of the short matches and like the cutouts, the absent participants who needed a match, okay? Carmelo, Ilya, Bluffany, Blueberry Box Braids, the United States champion, Io, Asuka. All these new and rising stars shelved for WrestleMania. Who you been building up to be main event stars, to be the head of mid-card. What are we doing? Aren't we supposed to be setting up the future? And especially with Bluffany. As much as I don't like her transformation from last year, her being women's champion, facing Charlotte, to not being involved at all the next year, that's baffling to me. I don't be on Tiffy time, but she's supposed to be, built up as top stars, to be moving the goalposts, to be passing the torch to, not involved at all. Your Women's United States champion who have yet to defend on a PLE is not involved. And then you have the match between them two the next week. You couldn't insert that? You couldn't cut out 5 commercials for them. And another 5 for Io and Asuka, who now have to face that backlash. Who now the one of the key main parts of their storyline, Kyrie being released a week late. We're going to get into that. We definitely are. But them being left off of WrestleMania, that was ridiculous. In around about 5 years, the main event stars we're seeing now, they are going to be out of the limelight, getting out of the limelight, taking time off, being part-time officially. We need to start building up these stars. Yeah, they already are, you know, with Oba, Trick, Lash, Javon. You know, we seeing it. We seeing it happen. But with everybody else within the span of the last 2 years that have been called up, need that time to continue to connect with the crowd, to continue to have storylines, to continue to have TV time, to be on a card for WrestleMania. All that being said, no. TKO do not care about the future. They don't. They care about the present and now and what they can get now. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Because like Triple H, triple nose. Big nose. Triple K. What are you doing? Why are you letting this happen? Why are you letting them drag your balls across the floor? What is happening right now? Because like, listen. With them having you by the balls. Now, executive producers running rampant, creative, AI, they all going crazy up in that bitch. They don't know what's going on. It's a whole circus back there. I can imagine. And I know it get chaotic with WrestleMania. I know it does. But it's probably chaos every single night. So, Triple H, you being suckered. Do you know it? Do you know it? Because if so, that's even worse if you know it. It's both. Either one, if you know it or if you don't, it's worse. Both of them are worse. They're in the same category. Between that, like, there's no solid plans for no big returns champions. Storylines falling flat. Celebrity investment, like, they care more about the celebrity than the wrestlers. That's what it's seeming like. WrestleMania has lost this feeling, bro. It sucks. It hurts. I used to love looking forward for WrestleMania. And that, you know, is the end of storylines and the beginning of new ones. I'll be so excited for that. I don't think I felt really, truly, fully excited for WrestleMania like all around since 40. Really. And last year, it was a whole lot of going on. You know, I was excited for, you know, majority, but it's just like after everything went on, because like I said, it looks good on paper, but some of it, well, kind of fell flat. But I could say on the contrary, it was good besides that last main event. But this year's WrestleMania now, I don't think I remember anything besides Paige's return. This hurts, man. Like I said, this whole TKO partnership, they are ruining the feeling of WrestleMania and WWE as a whole. They insulted the audience intelligence with this whole entire show. There's no emotional engagement anymore. This used to be our Super Bowl, like I said. And now it just feels like a cash grab event that doesn't benefit the audience. It don't. And the disengagement is just ridiculous. I can't. This really, truly has to end. Because, yes, I understand, unfortunately, that releases happen. Mainly throughout the years, their purpose of doing that was because of budget cuts. Now, me personally, I'm still, you know, trying to learn how business works and all that stuff. But you are $1 billion company. Why do you need budget cuts? Yeah, with all these, you know, contracts ending, if everybody want to resign and all that stuff, or they don't want to resign, like, okay, wrestlers be paying for majority of everything, their flights, gears, all that stuff. And then yet you still having budget cuts. Y'all don't be paying for that. But y'all still be having budget cuts? And with these releases this year, it's really ridiculous, like crazy. Like, you gonna give people ultimatums, right? You gonna give these wrestlers ultimatums to either take a 50, not 40, 30, 25, 15, but 50%, half of their paycheck, a pay cut, or walk. That's ridiculous. But y'all still ended up releasing Kyrie, Zelina, Alistair, Bo Dallas, but majority of YS6, Nikki, like, and then you also released Tyra May Steele. In the New Day, not taking the 50%, and they walked. They're done. After nearly 20 years with the both of them, they walked. Because who's taking that for real? Like, honestly. Because here's my thing. Before we fully get into it. Let's not put down anybody who accepted it, okay? Because at the end of the day, this is majority of their livelihood. You know, this is their job. So, let's not put down anybody that accepted it, okay? Because let's think about, for everybody who is, you know, putting them down. If you have a job, right, and especially within this economy, it is important to keep it. It is important to have income, even though it still probably ain't enough for what this economy is putting out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, so let's consider that. Okay, let's not put down anybody. Okay? Because getting released, getting fired, that's the worst thing possible to happen right now. To be unemployed is the worst thing possible at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, this economy is putting us down with inhumane norms being pushed. It's ridiculous. So with these releases, especially, what bothers me the most about releases is that they take people who are in the middle of storylines. What Kyrie saying? She came back to WWE at Crown Jewel 2023. Helping out Io defeat Bianca and her being within damage control at that time. You know, Io taking initiative to bring her in without Bailey's consent. That driven the storyline to, you know, with the newly formed damage control. Then at some point, Asuka was out with injury for a while. So it was just Kyrie, Dakota, and Io. And then Dakota gets released. This just happened last year too. So that's really crazy. Like, that's crazy. So pretty much damage control wasn't really damage control anymore. So it was just like, it was already starting with, you know, Dakota's release. Then when Asuka came back, you know, she was taking control. And pretty much Kyrie was siding with Asuka because Asuka was very, very dominant, adamant heel at this point. So she took control of Kyrie, pushing Io out because Io was being dragged into Rhea's mess. Then she got dragged down with it. Barely had any benefit to that tag team with her. But she ended up being world champion again. And then, you know, she was off by herself. So it made sense for Io to be on the loan now and Kyrie being on the fence. Asuka taking control. She just keeps on. It was insane. It's just crazy. So the fact that Kyrie was the driving point to their storyline, her being stuck in the middle. Io wanted to save her. Asuka holding Kyrie hostage. You can't just take her out of the storyline like that and expect for the audience to forget her. This could have been a good babyface turn for Kyrie. No, you release her for what? The last time she left, it was on her own accord. She wanted to go back to Japan, and she did. And she did a hell of a good job, and she came back. But then for her to organically get that babyface turn again, what she had in NXT, to get that reaction, to get the heart of the audience again, this was the perfect way. But nah, you throw up your hands, you let TKO take control, and you release the driving point on this storyline. This made no sense. Kyrie is a hell of a talent. And her booking throughout the last 3 years, it was very inconsistent, you know. But this storyline could have really been beneficial for her. The most out of, you know, both of them. About both Asuka and Io. Because, you know, Asuka still, both of them are still a fan favorite. But this kind of really gave Kyrie that platform again to be beloved fully. To finally get the audience to hook on her. Because it's just like, and now there's like rumors that Kyrie might be coming back at Backlash with the whole black hoodie situation. Nah, they need to stop that. They need to stop with that black hoodie stuff. Because if y'all are going to hire her back to finish the storyline and all that stuff, don't do that. It's a rinse and repeat. Please don't. Because that, please be original. We know who it would be if, you know, she comes down in a black hoodie. Don't do that. Don't do that. And I honestly don't think that it would happen, because seeing how they did it with R-Truth, how he returned and all that in the midst of, you know, John Cena's heel turn and all that, it really seemed like they was going into a serious direction with him, but then they just put him right back to who he was. And didn't really do anything that is main event worthy, which it seemed like was leading to. So, I don't trust them. If they are going to rehire her and, you know, finish the storyline, what would be next for her? Like, I would hope that they would go with the babyface run and, you know, her going against Becky for the Intercontinental Championship at some point. I don't know. It's very difficult. And speaking of somebody who could have had an opportunity to, you know, get the heart of the fans officially, finally in her career, Zelina. First of all, her babyface run, that definitely could have been her turning point too. Especially with, you know, Backlash and all that stuff. And if they driven her to that point of being a big babyface, that would really kind of benefit her. And her being United States champion, but you see all those reigns. She came back to WWE, got rehired after, you know, the unionism she wanted to advocate for, which got her fired in 2020. Trish streaming and all that stuff. Third party, which McCall is now having to be under WWE and all that stuff. Like, no, she wasn't having that. So they released her. But she came back in July 2021, being inserted into the Money in the Bank ladder match. And lost that night against Liv. That still to this day messes me up. Because, like, from that point, her losing her first night back, that was already, like, showing that they really don't care about her like that for real. To be honest with you. Because, like, yeah, she was the first queen in the ring. But wasn't really honored. You know, she only got a women's tag team title match out of that. But you seeing what the Queen of the Ring stipulation is now, you get a world championship opportunity at SummerSlam. Where's hers at? Where? But anyways, like, with Zelina, she is an exceptional talent too, especially on the mic. She could have really been utilizing that in her reign as United States champion. But no, that fell flat. Then she turns heel, being with her husband, who returned last year, just last year, Aleister Black. You know, I've really been wanting to get into him fully because, like, that kick, that Black Mask, also an exceptional talent who, you know, burned the bridge with AEW. To be for real honest, you have a lot of people burning bridges with WWE and they come back. So it's just like, he burned that bridge. He gonna be on Dynamite within the next 90 days. Come on. You rehired him last year. Not even within a full entire year. It was touching a year. He gets released. For what? They're pairing. It's amazing. You know, you've already seen how good Zelina was on the mic with Andrade. And, you know, her helping him with matches and all that stuff. That was a good duo. But you have a husband and wife duo doing that? Their aesthetic was, you know, on point to who they truly are. Right? So it's just like, this definitely could have worked out. But no, you had Alistair's entire second WWE run to be nothing but a feud with Damian Priest. And a few little tiny cameos here and there, getting into other wrestlers' business. But other than that, what else he had? You gave him nothing. Zelina could have definitely been an underdog pushing to get to the main event. We need another underdog storyline for the women. You know, I mean, Roxanne can do that, you know, but like within the midst of that time, Zelina could have been that. You know what I'm saying? Especially leading off to what happened at, you know, Backlash 2023. That could have been the catapult for that big babyface run. But no, they didn't give her that. Yeah, they gave her a United States Championship reign, but what do y'all remember from that? She just only feuded with Chelsea again until... No, she lost it to Blueberry Box Brace. And then she lost that to Chelsea again. And then Chelsea didn't barely do anything with that either. We'll get to that another time. But it's just like, both of their runs, their second runs with WWE, Zelina accomplished much, but at what cost? Alistair could have been a contender for the World Championship. He could be feuding with Cody right now. Wyatt Six. Pretty much the only ones who are left out of the Wyatt Six who did not get released is Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis.
So apparently they got released too. I'm just not finding out. And I also missed a whole lot more releases, but these were just like the main ones that I caught wind of. But yeah, either way, the whole Wyatt Six are gone.
The whole creation of Wyatt Six was to honor Bray Wyatt's memory. Now, it just seemed like they exploited his death at this point. It seemed like that was what it was. Because, you know, with all the mystery all collecting together back to honor his memory with the Wyatt Six. Probably what he wanted to do, going with those plans without him. And then once you got in all of that reaction, the heartfelt reactions, emotions to it all, and hoping for the Wyatt Six to honor his memory and go forward, you don't. We barely get to see them. They're not on TV. No storylines are starting, not even hints on who they will target. And then they appear. And the thing about it was, they've been gone for so long that it hurt that I didn't care to keep up. It hurt badly. Because I loved Bray Wyatt's work. I loved it. I loved the mystery. A lot of people didn't get it. A lot of people got tired of trying to get it. I saw a lot of people, it was majority who stuck on and who loved it from beginning to end. His creative mind would never be replicated. I'm about to get emotional right now. Because they legitimately exploited that. And you have his brother. The leader of this. Uncle Howdy. Both eyes as Uncle Howdy. You have him carry that. And then you release him again. What's crazy is, this isn't the first time that Bo got released. It's really showing that they truly did not care to honor Bray's memory for real. Because if that was the case, you have been pushing to find creative direction for them to stay on TV. It don't gotta be episode after episode, but have something for them so we can start throwing hits here and there. You know, having characters in the background segments, or who are they going to target? Small things like that develop to big grand storylines. They never got no WrestleMania match. No WrestleMania involvement at all whatsoever. Those are the biggest payoffs for, characters like them. Affection like them. It's big and grand, and all the mystery all adding up and being solved at WrestleMania. It made sense. Then we make it to 2 years. And they did nothing with them. But only pretty much feuded with the MFTs. All got released pretty much. You fire half of the MFT, of Solo's MFT. Now he's left with 2. They wasted everybody's time. Within these factions, they wasted everybody's time. And that blows my mind. And next, Tyra May Steele. I felt she was promising for the future. Another Olympian, a woman, Olympic gold medalist. You amp her up. First of all, they introduced her with Gabe, something like that. Y'all know who I'm talking. It didn't work out with him because of the legal issues with, you're gonna see right here. I can't remember exactly what it had something to do with, taking advantage of a woman. Right. So it was just like they didn't want to deal with all that, so they fired him. At SummerSlam 2021. Right. In this big grand way, just introducing her to the crowd and all that stuff. Amping up to be the next big thing, right? We already seen it with, Kurt Angle. A little bit with Chad Gable. But they really showcased them to be the next big thing heading into the future. That was 3 years within them barely getting shown. And Tyra's first, appearance on NXT was NXT level July of 2024. And then, in 2025, she was in LFG, and she won it. She won the first season of LFG, and was doing well in Evolve. And I hate that there has to be releases, but considering the recruitments of the Performance Center and competitors of LFG, if you're gonna release them based off of their development. Are they grasping wrestling well? Have they improved within their tenure of how many years they've been there? If not, that's who needs to be released. I hate saying that. But if y'all gonna consider that, have that list and go off from there. But y'all not doing that. Y'all release somebody who was promising of it. Who was doing well in meshing her amateur wrestling experience with professional wrestling. And already basically, having a character based off of that. You release her for what? Just fire the future, I guess. And lastly, the New Day. That struck me. We already lost Biggie. Yeah, he's still doing commentary for the pre-shows and all that stuff. It's good to see him doing that. But we already lost him to his neck injury. Not gonna see the 3 of them again. Together in the ring again. But you have this heel turn. You have them turn on him. Because it was pretty much forming that Biggie wanted to be their manager. And that would have worked too. It could have definitely developed to that. At some point. Or what was crazy that year was all these rumors like Biggie is actually ready to be in the ring again. His neck injuries healing up and all that. It was a lot going on that year when the heel turn happened. And with John Cena, that's one of the greatest heel turn moments in professional wrestling history as a whole. One of, if we gon' have a list. So going off of that moment, it starts to go down. Because with that heel turn, they should have been massive heels. Getting the tag titles back, holding them hostage. Beating down everybody. Being what they were when they was building up to being the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. They could have gotten close to that again. Until you have a team like maybe the Street Profits or Axiom and Nathan, dethrone them. Because, they've been popular. They was like one of the popular tag teams in NXT. And going to SmackDown, showing how charismatic they are as a tag team. Or hell, they could have been, debuted on Raw, since that's where the New Day was. You know what I'm saying? And they could have been built up throughout their reign of breaking that record again. Because the Usos broke their record for the longest reigning tag team champions of all time. They tried to get back to that. And then the promising rising tag team of Nathan and Axiom. I don't know how to say their names together because, Fraxium. Yeah. So it's just like they are a promising tag team. A good babyface one for them to dethrone the New Day. These massive heels as a tag team. See, all these, tag teams they going through, they were the last one standing. And they are the new tag team champions. But no, you have them do this funeral type of direction where they're mourning the tag team championships after they lost it. After one defense. And then they're off and on TV. They have Grayson Waller replacing Big E. It was already set for disaster. Like, I felt like they would be fed up at some point. And today, I still feel it. Like, it still hurts. They could have done so much. They sacrificed pretty much their entire career for this company. The New Day was just a tag team that you just cannot replicate. That star power, that enthusiastic, charismatic form of personalities. You just can't. And talk about black excellence. Bro, listen. You have Big E and Kofi, who have been world champions. Big moments that been ruined in the end. But Oba avenged them, as he should. But you just can't get that back. This is pretty much kicking out the veterans. They continuing to do these things that will get the veterans fed up. Like, they've been doing WWE's tomfoolery for so long. And it took TKO to grant this 50% cut. They threw their hands up. And I honestly applaud them for that. But again, let's not put down everybody else that accepted it. Because they put their jobs on the line for that. Utterly ridiculous. I hope that wherever they go, they would have so much success that they will regret ever even giving these wrestlers those ultimatums. Because you're seeing the ones who didn't accept it doing so much better than what they were doing. And I hope that for them. Like, truthfully, for all of them. Sucks. Again. But the whole thing just sucks. Because their time is delayed for celebrities. Okay, let's be for real honest. The celebrities are not needed. Okay? It's fine to, have them there, here, and there. But throughout the entire year, invading in main event storylines. Cut it. If it's not WrestleMania, if it's not SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, the core 4 big pay-per-views, if it's not either one of those, keep the celebrities away. I'm so serious. Like, legitimately. All they are trying to garner is mainstream attention, which is the wrong way to go about this. Like, honestly, there's way too many reasons why this is wrong. Okay, but I can only go with so much. Because I ain't trying to, have y'all here for 5 hours. Like, honestly, it does not benefit the wrestlers whatsoever. Maybe it will benefit the celebrity, if they have an album coming out, if they are going to be in a movie, TV show. whatever, bring them in, promote what they got going on, you know what I'm saying, be with this wrestler, and then they go on about their business. No, because it doesn't benefit the wrestler. Like, yeah, maybe, some of the celebrities' fans might see that person and be like, oh, yeah, they see cool. But they are not going to be legitimately watching wrestling like that. Let's be for real. All this mainstream attention and only just garnering more people to say, oh, yeah, that's fake. Oh, that shit. No, like, please stop trying to appeal to the masses. Okay? Please focus on the core audience. That's where it's at. Okay, because it's mainstream appeal, attention, trying to get the money and all that stuff, trying to get the views and all that stuff. It does not have longevity. It doesn't. It may be there for a cute moment, a cheap pop. But again, how is this going to benefit the wrestlers? How is it going to benefit storylines? They are not that committed to the future. Okay? They're going to get their moment and go about their business. They're not going to really mention their moment like that. The only celebrity that I will accept, and I pretty much this can go for any wrestling fan, is Bad Bunny. Like, he really is breaded for this business. Like, let's be, like, he was really committed during his run. And it didn't interfere with main event storylines. I mean, like, yeah, he did main event. Did they main event? Did him and Damian main event? No, I don't think they did. But it was close to the main event. Yeah, but he had one-on-one with Damian. It was great. Especially for him being a celebrity. Like, he was really committed to this. And maybe I'll give that prop to Jelly Roll too. I mean, he went in and trained as well. And I think he had like bought another house to be close to the PC, something like that. I don't know. But I'll give him that. He was at least consistent with learning, that too. But with Bad Bunny, it just seemed like the passion was there with him. So if a celebrity isn't as committed as him, keep them away. Like I said, small little cameos, little appearances and segments. Yeah, maybe a tag match. But other than that, please, let's limit this. It's redundant at this point. I don't care who it is. And y'all be getting the wrong celebrities too. Y'all just be giving those celebrities that aren't really athletic or didn't really watch wrestling like that and don't really have the love for it. And I also give Speed that prop too, because like he's very athletic and he's very charismatic. His personality is big, vibrant. It makes sense for him to. And especially since, his audience is like, I would say like 15 through 18. So like that audience can also, be excited to watch wrestling and stuff like that. So it makes sense. But with the ones that just only there for their benefit only, with their businesses and all that stuff, please, let's just stop this right now, because just stopping in its tracks. I'm so serious. Most of them are not there for the fans or their love for wrestling. Most of them are just there for their business. Then once they get everything that they need, they're gone. No mention, no nothing. So please stop wasting these wrestlers' time with these celebrities, because they're not the future of the company. They're really not. And all this talk about fans, right? We do have some amazing, respectful fans that respect wrestlers' boundaries. But it seems like the bad behavior is getting more rampant at this point. The inconsideration is rates are going up. Because I applaud CM Punk for shoving that fan's camera out of Bailey and AJ's face. Like, bro, boundaries, hello? We are in an airport, and that's what bothers me the most. I hate when fans berate, go at wrestlers so they could get an autograph, Photoshop, whatever. They are trying to get to their flight. They do not want to be bothered. Let's be so for real. Some of them, just go ahead and just sign and whatever, stick around and sign. But 9 times out of 10, they want y'all to get the out of their face. They are humans. Like, please, stop with it. Because, and especially since you want to drop charges. Like, no, you bothered them. You are in their space. Back up. So let's get back to this certain situation, right? Punk was like across the room. Bailey and AJ were, across the other way of the room, right? They are together, and then this man's coming in their face with a damn camera. Punk bolts over across the room and knocks that camera out of his motherfucking, like, as you should. As he should. And whoever is mad at it, fans shouldn't be doing that. Fans should not be shoving a flash up in wrestlers' face without their permission. Matter of fact, wrestling started getting security. If anything, WWE need to start paying for security. Because they're getting more attention now, right? With mainstream attention, right? So they need to have extra security around them. Traveling with them. Protecting them. Because at the end of the day, they are humans. They are just like me and you. They are regular people just like me and you. They just only perform characters on TV. Once they're off TV, once they're not doing, any shows, any meet and greets, interviews, all across the board, they are humans. Back up. Get out of their space. Get out of their space. It's not just physical, face-to-face interactions that are the problem. Social media, too. On there, too. Because at the end of the day, they're not obligated to respond to anything unless it's, serious allegations. It has to do with anything that is against their character. And if it is against their character, then you speak out about it. But other than that, even then, it's a, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, you do owe respect to people's cultures that they are in your fan base. But we'll get to that type of topic some other day. But yeah, they're not obligated to give y'all information about their life. They're not obligated to take pictures, to give you a shout out, respond to your comments. Like, they're not obligated to do that. And especially if somebody is injured, is out with pregnancy, is, not on TV at all, that they don't owe y'all an explanation of what they're doing, what is happening. It would be good to get an update, especially since for you. Listen, I understand. And especially, for example, Naomi's, pregnancy. She hasn't spoken out on social media. She hasn't posted since, made the announcement in August of 2025. And I think the last time she was heard from was, either September or October. And I understand people are concerned and just wanted to hear from her. And I understand because, she be on the social media, literally almost every day, interacting and giving her reactions to stuff. I know y'all are used to that. But she has a child, allegedly, now, I believe she already gave birth. At this point, she's already with her son. So give her time. She's not obligated to give y'all an update. She's not obligated to post pictures, to do all of that. Give her time. And this goes for any other woman that's going to be pregnant and don't say anything for a long time. Okay? And wrestlers who are injured and don't say anything in a long time. Give them their space. They have feelings. They have responsibilities. And they have boundaries. Respect them. Please. Because I know that y'all, if y'all was in their position, y'all will feel irritated as the fuck. And I know, they be holding it back. They probably want to do exactly what CM Punk did. Be wanting to do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? And with Punk's, career and all that stuff, he's been in the business for a long time. So if he does something like that, then, he might be held back for a little minute. Because I don't think he has been seen on TV since the other incident where a fan came out saying that he chopped him in the chest. I don't know. But yeah, it's just it won't harm him. I don't think it will harm him. But if it was anybody else, that's not in the position that he's in right now, I don't know. I don't know what would happen. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe they probably kept off TV too. But I just like, all of that, please, for the love of God, get out of their face. At the airport, at the store, at the park, anywhere that is not wrestling related, leave them alone. It don't matter. Even if you're a big fan and you don't think you will ever see them again, give them their respect that they deserve, and then just back off. Okay? And if you do want to talk to them like any other human being. Okay? If they seem that they don't want to interact with you, be respectful. Be like, okay, back off and leave it be. I don't know how hard that is. I don't know why that's so hard for some of y'all to understand. But please, understand it. Now, this next one. Oh, this next one got me peeved. Because what do you mean that you don't have no plans for my auntie AJ? Mind you, this is one of the biggest returns in this entire decade. Yes, you don't got no plans now? You mean to tell me the only plan was for that mixed tag between her, Punk, Seth, and Becky? And then this Becky feud that lasted 4 matches, and only the payoff was to have Becky become a 3-time in the Continental. I'm about to throw these glasses on. Mind you, she has only faced Becky and Bayley in singles matches this whole entire run. And mind you, again, this whole run has been September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months. 7 months, only one feud. And this goes for, all these other feuds. Lasting 5 to 10 months. Girl, like, it's really ridiculous. Like, she has had one title and participated in one gimmick match. And you have no plans moving forward right now. Yet, you have... Oh, my God. You have Lyra and Roxanne, who have been big fans of her growing up. Teach something between them, have her guide them in their current situation right now. Roxanne being belittled in the Judgment Day. Lyra and Bayley are just, coasting in the tag division. Have yet to win tag team gold. She can give them guidance in some way. Few backstage segments and whatnot. I don't know. Or maybe, create a wedge between Bayley and Lyra some way. I don't know. Something. You have them. Then you have Paige and Brie, who've had history with her. Paige, like, and they all held before us. Like, what are we doing? Backstage segments with them, them being together, showing sisterhood or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could be a faction when Nikki come back. They could be a faction. Like, build something there. Natalia, she has history with her. Even that she has right now can definitely benefit the both of them. Giving AJ back that big power babyface character, and give Natty that heel heat that she has been needing. Like, they need to tear it up in the ring again. Because all that matches was golded, like, in the standards of the Divas era. And even for the era now. They can tear it up. They could have been feuding right now. Because set it up for her to come back to. Or even Blake Monroe. Like, even though she debuted on SmackDown, they can switch it. Have her debut on Raw. Get this of what could have happened the night after WrestleMania. She addressed the universe. After the interview, it was kind of giving like she was done. I ain't believing that because, girl, listen. One feud, really. But anywho, she addressed the universe. And then she reasserts that she's going to be coming back for Becky and her championship. And then when she, tries to finish her sentence with that, then the lights go out. The arena goes dark. Then we hear Blake's music. Okay, girl. Okay. Yeah. So She comes down, interrupts her, obviously, and introduces herself. AJ doesn't take it lightly, but she welcomes her anyway. And then Blake gives her flowers, just praising AJ. And then once it seems like all bliss, flowers and all that, and she tackles her down or forearms her down. And it says like something like, I'm coming for that title. You are not going to get near. Something like that, something indicating that she wants to get at Becky. But she gonna take out AJ first to get there. So she takes her out, she beats her down, and then she stands over AJ. Crowd booing. We already got some heat for Blake and a few for AJ to come back to. So this takes her out for, the break that she needs. Just like, and then build up a feud between Becky and Blake. I'll have that title feud for a little minute. And then when AJ comes back, she costs her in the last match. And then we have a match for SummerSlam. But no, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to the fans, actually. Don't listen. Because I'm telling you, if you went to the fans for adjustments for AJ, a whole lineup, even more of what I said, and then some. But no, they don't do that. They don't do that. Because she's gonna come back to nothing. Maybe she's gonna come after Becky again. We need to move on from that. And my suggestion would have been a good move, to keep her away from the title for a minute. And then get her back to it. She don't want to disrespect my auntie. That's ridiculous. Don't bring back somebody if you're not going to have further plans for them. Please don't waste my time. Don't waste it. I love having her back. I really do. I was scratching clawing for it. I almost passed out that night. But y'all gonna do it like, don't do that. Please don't. Hurry up and amp something up for her to get back to. Because that's ridiculous, bro. And let's get back to Cody. Let's discuss his character for a little minute. Because not only that whole entire Mania was anticlimactic, his whole character is. Is the definition of it right now. Because he's losing the fans' interest, pretty much. They're booing him. Let's go ahead and turn. Or give him a tweener role or something. Because this is not going to benefit him. Or any of his opponents. If he's supposed to be going against a heel, especially a heel like Randy Orton who is getting cheered, no. I'm not saying that the role ought to be reversed because of how Randy's approach was. I want them to start getting to a place where there is no infused, where there is no heel or babyface. Both of them are flawed as hell. Let the fans choose who they want to cheer. Let the fans choose who they want to boo. But let them develop in a way to show their flaws instead of trying to be a good guy, trying to be the bad guy. Just let them be humans with flaws, just like everybody else, but give it in a way where neither one of them care what the fans are saying. They only care about their own feelings. And what they want is to stay champion. Let it be just that. Because right now, Cody's still trying to be the baby face. It gives no depth. He has had no character development since... I don't even know. Because I feel like he's been the same character since he returned to WWE. It's sad to see. Because, let him fully fall into a tweener, a heel role, a corporate role, that is. Since he be called a politician. Let's go ahead and give him that. But he is in a role of wanting to hear nothing from TKO. He's anti-TKO, but he also don't give a damn what anybody else thinks about what his actions are, what he has done in the company. Give him a role where double type of role, kind of like how Becky was the first time around when she was the man. Or rather she was cheered or booed, She didn't give a damn. She just went with her morals. She just went with how she felt. And she moved accordingly. She didn't pander to the fans. She didn't pander to boos. She just did her. Taking down the authority. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's give him that. And he just needs a whole revamp of his character. So we can go into directions that will lead to a destination that will benefit not only him, but his opponent as well. Because him being babyface still and going against these heels that are being cheered and all, it's not working anymore. It's not working. Please let him fall into a rebel side if you don't want to completely turn him heel. All right. But let's go ahead and just knock some of that down. Because, you know, all the smiles and the high fives and kissing babies, let's deteriorate from that for a minute. Let him, on his own, explore his character without pandering to anybody. While trying to be the good guy. But let's give him that. You know, I might have a little bit more to say, but, like, that's pretty much all I can give at this moment. This is just a gist. Okay? If I have more to say, I will come back to it at some point. But, yeah, little small things here. Just a tiny bit. My tag team champions, man. Like, Paige, Brie. Them being in the crowd in the first night after WrestleMania, that no. Especially since that Paige's return was one of the biggest moments coming out of that Mania. Come on. Maybe even the biggest. Because it's just like, that Big Nose had disrespect to her a few years back. Saying something that I think was about, you know, I actually want to get into that too. But let's get into, you know, her and Brie. When they won at WrestleMania, when she returned, it felt good in the moment. But also seeing Nikki beside them, you know, she seemed so hurt. Because it should have been her and Brie winning those titles. Together at WrestleMania, holding their hands together. Hands up. And I don't mind, you know, Paige and Brie being tag team champions. Because you know the thing starts to be, why did I lose my shoe?
Why did I lose my shoe? Why did I lose my shoe?
Let me stop. Just with that moment and, you know, how close they were on Total Divas and all that stuff and their friendship outside of it and all. You know, I really think they could be a great team. As well, but you know, what do I know? You know, I really do see, you know, Brie turning on Paige and like Nikki coming back and wanting to fulfill her place as a tag team champion with Brie. I feel that coming, and we gonna get Frenemies versus the Bellas 2.0 again, and it might bring them together. I don't know. I see something like that, but yeah, I don't see them lasting entirely too long together. But yeah, that first night just really rubbed me the wrong way. Because like, off of a big win like that and a big return for Paige, you gonna put them in the crowd? That don't make no sense, bro. The wrestler should not be in the crowd like that. If they're not coming from NXT, if they're not somebody that's about to be moved up, nobody need to be in the crowd. Unless it's part of a storyline. Because what made sense for them to be front row to that Judgment Day segment if, you know, Raquel and Roxanne ain't going to go against Paige and Brie. But yeah, that was just a little something small. You know, I definitely do see a turn happening. But right now, I do just want to see them how they are as a tag team. And they are okay. But I know that you really come together and be very vibrant, charismatic team. You know, and really work with each other with their wrestling moves and all that stuff. Yeah. So that's just, you know, so small. Trouble. That's me. Cherry lips, so bad energy. Girl, listen. I'm just gonna do something small here too. Y'all gotta get off of trouble, okay? Okay, if you don't get it, you don't get it. But the ones that do, come on, like, say it once, say it twice. Come on. You know, the first listen, you know, I was cackling my ass off. I'm like, girl, I know you fucking lying. Like, I knew it was a key, and it still is. But it's campy, it's cute, it's cutesy, you know, it fits her. You know, if you're annoyed by it, like, again, she's just doing her job, bro. She's just doing her job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not really supposed to be taken serious anyway. She ain't serious about pursuing a music career. If she was, then, you know, I was expecting just a little bit more fluency in the lyrics, you know, actually make really make sense and connect. You know what I'm saying? But like, for her, it's just it's for her. You know what I'm saying? And it's for ones that get it, like I said. Girl, because when I tell you, I listen to that literally every day. And I ain't ashamed to say it. I'm not ashamed to say it. I am a trouble enthusiast, a troubleaholic. It does scare me just a tiny bit. As if Death Row would use a little AI in her lyrics. Which, as a whole in WWE, the use of AI is getting ugly. It's getting ugly. Because what do you mean is helping write storylines? No wonder why all of these storylines are falling flat, feeling anticlimactic. Because, and that's the word of this video, anticlimactic, okay? Anticlimactic sucks. Like, it's ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous. Writing is hard sometimes. Yes, it is. You get writer's block. You don't know if it feels like it makes sense. I get that. I'm a writer myself. I got a degree in it right now. I'm about to get my bachelor's. I'm working on getting my bachelor's, and I know it's going to be extra hard. But using AI is detrimental to that. It's detrimental to that progress. It's detrimental to the trust of the creative team. Because now you're relying on that. AI don't know these wrestlers. They only know what the internet gives them about these wrestlers. That's it. They don't know nothing. They don't know anything about their authenticity as a character. They don't know nothing. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they are using it for graphic t-shirts. The PLE logos, like I would not be surprised. The renders, we already seeing that they using it for video packages. Just last night, having the gingerbread funeral in the video package, like AI down to the bruise. Why y'all so lazy? Y'all could have easily went to the club or the beach or whatever and take pictures with him, Trick, and Lil Yachty. This is ridiculous, bro. Just going off of that for just a second. I understand, you know, WWE be having the goofy segments and all that stuff. The Rock, New Day, September, like all of the, you know, comedic wrestlers. I know they be having comedic moments. And Trick is, you know, comedic. He has that side. So I get that we're going to have segments like that with him. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, with that video, it puts a bad taste in my mouth. Because, like, the slop is a tarnish to the authenticity. They losing it, bro. They losing it. You are a $1 billion company. $1 billion business. What do you need that for? Y'all lazy as... Ugh. It's not just with them. You know, it's the entire world. It's a lot of businesses using AI. For what? Y'all have not relied on it before. What's going on? What's happening? Like, and they are wanting to push the use of AI. I hope and pray that it is tarnished. Because, like, yeah, sometimes it can be helpful if you, like, you know, doing math. Because math terrorized me this entire 2 years. You call it sometimes it does help. But every time when it is used, it uses way too much water, bro. Because, like, it's taking up water consumption day by day. It uses tons of electricity power. Like, it's taking up a whole lot of that. And it's affecting the air pollution. And so many other detrimental things you could think of that helps us live, it affects it. And people's brains are rotting because they don't know what's real and what's fake. Girl, shut up. It's crazy. You know, even sometimes I'll be having some trouble and I'm just like, I step back. And I hate having to ask that AI. I hate that. I really do. Please stop the usage. Like, you gonna influence other people to use it. Because you are a big business. What you need it for? You see all the past years. Never needed it. So stop, bro. Please. Now this last one, little last minute, because what happened last night. We need to have a conversation about Nia, bro. Because listen. I made a TikTok video about this. The situation of what happened to Jay. You know, the busted forehead. Yeah.
For people who are saying that Nia does this on purpose and tries to take girls out, that's really horrible to put on somebody. Even as controversial as Nia Jax is, I don't ever want to think that she does that on purpose to these girls. However, it is a pattern to where sometimes she probably doesn't know how to control her power, how to control her strength, and it gets out of hand.
I need to revise what I said. When I say that it's not her fault. It's getting ridiculous at this point. Because not only she has busted Kyrie's head open. Jay's head open. Now Paige's. With the mic. Like, how, you had to hit her so hard. You had to hit her entirely too hard for the mic to bust her open like that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Like, it's been injury after injury with her, considering somebody else. I understand. Accidents happen. They do. But when I revised, you know, my response after what happened to Jade, in that same video, in that same, you know, match. I don't know if y'all care, but like, here we go.
Game over, dude, I made her bleed. And now Nia.
She said, game over, dude, I made her bleed. I don't know if that was in character or considering all the shade and stuff her, Chelsea, Piper was throwing during the whole her versus Rhea situation. I don't know if that was in character or not. But even then, her saying that, and she intentionally shoved Jay's head into them steps to where she couldn't really brace herself. We got to open up this conversation. Are you really doing this on purpose? I really don't want to think that she is. But this is getting ridiculous. Like, you gotta... What I said was that she's very heavy-handed. I really do believe she is. And sometimes when you're heavy-handed, you don't know how much power you're giving sometimes. So, again, it probably might be that, again, that same reason. But my God, man, you gotta be careful, bro. Like I said, I really don't want to hope that she's doing this on purpose. Because this is really just, it shook me, you know? Like, we gotta be careful. Y'all gotta, please be careful, child. If you're not doing it on purpose. With the mic, bro, the mic. Like I said, you had to hit her real hard for the mic to make her bleed. At the end of the day, bro, be careful who y'all around at work, really. Because, you know, it is people out there who do like that on purpose. That type of really rattles me. And so I really do hope she don't be doing that on purpose. Like, oh God. Okay, now that was it. Of this big, massive edition of Scandalous. Oh God, like I just really felt like I really need to say something. No, I need focus. I need focus on these exams, graduate. I needed to. Cause like it's a whole lot, and I ain't even cover all of it either. But yeah, stay tuned. Cause I'm supposed to be finishing something that was supposed to have been finished 2 months ago. So that will be coming out soon. All right. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get back on TikTok a bit. You know, wherever I feel like ranting about, it will be on there. Okay. Get y'all update. Me showing the snippets of this video on there. You know, so yeah, again, just stay tuned. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out of breath. I had to take a break in between because this wig felt a little tight. And I'm like, wait, whoa, I haven't done this in a minute either, so I have to sit down for a minute. But yeah, I'm good. All right. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.